Hello and what is up, YouTube? My name is G3Iron, and today we have a very special episode of ExileCourt for you as we discuss and debate whether or not synthesis as a mechanic should go core. Please feel free to leave a comment and your own vote and opinion down below in the discussion. Below in the video description, we've got hot linked for you timestamps for the various court cases, both the pro as well as the opposed side of the argument for whether or not synthesis should go core. And of course, right above my slightly balding head, there are convenient timestamps for you to jump through if you'd like to at any point in time skip ahead or review the arguments that are made by the various parties involved. I hope you enjoy our discussion today, and I look forward to reading and discussing all of the various aspects of whether or not synthesis should go core, the pros, the cons, the benefits, and the risks to such a policy moving forward. As always, thanks so much for watching and for your support, and enjoy the rest of this debate and episode of ExileCourt. Bum, 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 bum.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm Frank Talker, and I'm the lead inquisitor on prosecuting this case that I'm here to tell you today. Synthesis in no way, shape, or form should go core. It's bad for exiles, it's bad for Rayclass, it's bad for efficiency, it's bad for min-maxing. So I'm here today to give you 3 reasons why synthesis in no way should go core. First off, let me lead in by saying that synthesis mechanics feels like an interruption. Nobody likes being interrupted. If I'm talking right now and you were talking right now, that's an interruption. It's rude, it's disrespectful, and frankly, I don't like it. So, first off, why does it feel like an interruption? Well, the nexus, it just intrusion on anything that you wanted to do. Let's say, for instance, you're mapping. Maybe you're clearing an atoll map. Maybe you're clearing a fungal hollow. Doesn't matter what the map is. Let's not really get into the details of that. But let's just say you're mapping, maybe you're delving, or maybe you're pushing a temple, or maybe you've got your mindset on capturing a particular Pokemon. Well, the entire Nexus system just feels like an interruption that gets in the way of delving, temples, mapping, and hunting for beasts. The crafting system requires you to use third-party platforms like PoEDB. I mean, not all of us have got 2 monitors, okay? Some of us do, not all of us do. Some of us have got cell phones, some of us have got, even extra cell phones where you've got the trade pulled up on one cell phone, and then you've got PoEDB pulled up on another cell phone, and then maybe you've got PoE Lab pulled up on another, window, and then maybe you've got the actual game functioning somewhere. But the point is that the crafting system you use, it's ridiculous. It just interrupts everything that you want to do. If you wanted to have a natural state of flow, or maybe you just wanted to sit down and chill and play some Path of Exile, you can't do that, all right? Frank Talker says, frankly, I don't think that's okay. Synthesis also adds pressure to an already highly pressurized endgame, okay? I mean, the other day, I came home from work, I sat down at my computer to play some Path of Exile, and you know what? I just couldn't do it. There was just too much pressure. There was too much pressure, too much expectation on me as the player as I was getting ready to play. And this is what I'm talking about here. First off, if you don't run a delve when you're on full sulfite, it just feels bad. It feels terrible. I'm going to go to the glasses here just to read this out, okay? If you're missing out, like if Nico would potentially spawn and you're on full sulfite, that feels bad, right? It feels really bad. Well, what about not running temples when you're at max temples? Missing out on an Alva spawn would feel really bad, right? Well, what about if you run all of those other things like the delve, the temple, and the nexus? That means that you're not getting any Pokemon to spawn, okay, for Einhard to capture. So basically, then on top of that, if you wanted to craft, let's say you had a self-crafting goal this league because there's lots of really cool, awesome stuff that just got added from Betrayal. Well, Jund doesn't spawn in Delve or in Temples or the Nexus, and so that means that you're just missing out on furthering your crafting objectives. And then on top of that, okay, your memory nodes can fill up and have a maximum requirement. So it's basically like the Delve mechanic all over again, but you just feel like you're missing out. So if you're capped out at 10 memories or at your maximum amount of memories and you don't want to go run them right now, because maybe you're enjoying another part of Path of Exile, the game, then, allegedly you might feel pressured. So I just got to say, synthesis adds pressure to an already highly pressurized endgame. Thirdly, and finally, in my concluding remarks here to you, the ladies and gentlemen of ExileCourt's jury, randomization is now layered to infinity and beyond, to quote one very famous Star Wars character. Okay? Random memories lead to random connections, lead to random loot, which lead to random modifiers, which lead to random bosses, which lead to random chests, which lead to random rewards, which is random on top of random on top of random. It's just not fun. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present my case. I leave it to you. What do you say? I think that there is no place in all of ExileClassed, in all of Rayclassed, in all of ExileCourt, just anywhere. There's no room for synthesis. Okay, the game is already too pressurized. It feels like an interruption, and it's just random. All right, so I leave that to you, the ladies and gentlemen of the ExileCourt jury. What do you say? I say no. These are the reasons why synthesis should not go core. And if you think that I'm not going to cite my sources, you're right, but I'm going to drop them down below in the video description so you can go and read more people like me that are angry, upset, and emotional about synthesis. I think somebody's cutting onions. I'm not crying, okay? But synthesis should not go core. End of story. Your Honor, I rest my case.
Howdy there, neighbor. I'm Chill McGee, and I'm here to present the counterpoint to Frank Talker. I was frankly hoping he would just shut up for a few minutes so we could chat about a couple reasons why synthesis should go core. So first off, let's hop right in here with a couple of reasons why synthesis, in my humble opinion, should go core. First off, synthesis crafting is incredible. I mean, is there another reason why synthesis should even need to go core? Have y'all not seen some of the items that are out there? I don't know if you can read my hat or not, but it says make PoE great again. And I think synthesis does a great job of doing that. It makes crafting great. Now, if you're simply crafting something because you want to sell it, maybe you want to turn a profit, there's a lot of people right here in the G3 community that I know for a fact are looking to make a buck. Now, whether that's just doing good, hard, honest work like currency flipping, or maybe that's doing the good, hard, honest work of mapping and turning the chaos recipe in. Or maybe that's crafting something that's particularly exciting. Well, if you're simply looking to craft something to sell it, synthesis gives you an option to do that. Maybe you're simply wanting to craft something for yourself. Maybe you've got your own build, your own ideas, your own goals. Well, synthesis allows you to pull all of those little motivations, bring them out from inside, and lay them into an implicit that can actually matter for you and for your build. Nexus farming is the second reason why I think synthesis ought to go core. In Nexus farming, it can simply be ridiculously profitable post 3.6.3, which I will, frankly, concede the point to my opponent, Frank Talker, that prior to patch 3.6.3, Nexus farming felt just like good old hard, honest work, but really wasn't as rewarding as what it feels like now, which is bonkers, if we're being honest about it. Mods and memories right now are much more forgiving post 3.6.3. Connections and cutting paths don't happen nearly as often, which means you don't have to go back and re-irrigate memory paths that you already have gone in and tilled out and done the hard work of crafting. Reward nodes and amplifiers are ridiculous when compared to map crafting. Now, I just want you to think about this for just a minute, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Think about purchasing your sextants, spending chisels, spending alchemy orbs, and then potentially all of the other points that you've got to spend filling out your atlas so that way your map completion bonus is actually halfway decent and you can sustain maps. One of the things that's great about Synthesis League is that it gives you reward nodes and amplifiers simply for interacting with it. It's just always there, hanging out. Now granted, it'll look different if it does go core. Won't be nearly as prevalent as what it is right now. But right now you just have extra monsters, extra reward nodes, extra modifiers and amplifiers that you don't have to spend anything for. You don't got to go out and trade with some Russian, getting some kind of sextant or alchemy orb or even simply trying to trade for maps, which, frankly, is one of the big complaints in every single league. You don't have to do that as you're interacting with synthesis, which is one of the reasons why I think it ought to go core, because Nexus farming is great post-patch 3.6.3. The third and final reason that I'll lay before you in my case is that synthesis will add an optional layer of content that players can then choose to engage with should they decide to do so. So my opponent, Frank Talker, said that there's just too much randomization inside Path of Exile. I simply don't agree. There's a lot of ways that you can target farm things in Path of Exile. For instance, you can target farm temples if you'd like to. There's a whole lot of targeting that you can do, whether that's targeting the room, whether that's targeting the eye level of the temple, but you can target and basically shape the way that you want to interact with temples. And not everybody does interact with temples. And the same thing is true for delve. You want to delve vertically, you want to delve horizontally, that's up to you. It's an optional layer of content that not everybody engages with, but a lot of players do engage with, and the ones who do enjoy it quite a bit. But it's totally optional. At no point in time does the game stop, or do certain sections of the games stop becoming available to yourself simply because you're not interacting with this optional layer of content. It's there if you want it, and it's not there if you don't. If you don't like digging deep in delve and getting your hands dirty in the dirt, then you don't do it. If you do like it, then every other moment you're searching for Nico, hoping for some more sulfite and more boon to you. Not everybody hunts Pokemon with Einhar. Now, some of you out there are going to say Bestiary is one of the best leagues out there and Bestiary crafting is great. I tend to agree with you. I like hunting myself, like my country music, but the reality is that not everybody hunts with Einhar. Not everyone wants to go out and catch all the Pokemon, and that's okay. It's an optional layer of content for players to interact with as they're mapping and as they're enjoying their Path of Exile experience. And sure enough, with the latest upgrade and the latest league mechanic to go core, Betrayal League, adding Jun to the Masters and to the array of Masters that we now have, not everybody wants max crafting recipes. My opponent, Frank Talker, wants you to think like everybody's got to play this game as a full-time job and get their own full-on crafting bench and everything. The reality is a lot of people are more than happy to do that for you, whether that's in guild or maybe via trade. So the reality is if you don't want to interact with the Syndicate, a lot of people, and we saw this during Betrayal League, choose not to interact with the Syndicate. Heck, I myself on one of my characters simply locked the Syndicate out because I didn't want to get blown up. It was great to see Jun on research because then I knew I wasn't going to get intervened on. Lastly, finally, not everybody will be forced into synthesis in the core iteration of the game. It'll be a much rarer thing for us to interact with, and overall, it'll be there for people that want to enjoy the crafting, that want to enjoy the Nexus, but if you don't like it, you just don't have to do it. Frankly, I think that is a terrible idea to say optional content shouldn't be included into the game simply because some people like Frank Talker, my opponent, are whiny crybabies who don't want to look at PODB to get their good, honest crafting fix. Anyway, I'm Chill McGee, and that's my argument. 3 reasons why synthesis ought to go core. I leave that into your hands, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Well, thank you so much, Frank Talker and Chill McGee, for presenting whether or not synthesis should go core or not. Both of those arguments and their evidences for those arguments are laid out with a couple of links down below to discussions on the forums as well as Reddit in the video description. I am not going to act like judge, jury, and executor here in ExileCourt. This is up to all of you as the jury of ExileCourt. What do you guys think? Should synthesis go core, yay or nay? If you think synthesis should go core, maybe drop a couple of lines about why you think it should go core. If you disagree, and if you're more on the Frank Talker side of the equation, why shouldn't synthesis go core? What would it do in terms of damaging the overall gameplay experience of Path of Exile? Leave us a comment down below and let us know which side of the equation you were on, whether or not synthesis should go core, yay or nay. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I hope today, after you voice your opinion on whether or not synthesis should go core or not, it's the day that you find a mirror of Calandra. Thanks so much for watching the latest episode of ExileCourt.
Nice patrons, yes, good patrons. They're so kind and supportive.
I can't believe you watched that thing. That was a good job. You did it. You got through the whole video. Yay.